Social Zoom Factor episode 284.
Driving results in business these days takes something special. It's a combination of the right info and the right energy. Pam Moore has both and is here to help you avoid the pitfalls and guide your business and life by leveraging and integrating social media, powerful branding, and digital marketing. Welcome to Social Zoom Factor. Now it's time to live life zoomed.
Email, SMS, chatbots, live chat, all of them in a single tool. Oh, we actually aren't done with the list yet. Visitor tracking, CRM, push notifications, and all that boosted by automations. You get the idea, right? Trying to integrate everything into a business can make a marketer go crazy. But User.com is here to stop this nightmare, and at a lower price than its competitors. User.com is a full stack marketing machine and now is offering a special for Social Zoom Factor listeners of 50% off for 6 months regardless of plan. Plus, the first 10 to register will receive a free consultation with a User.com marketing automation expert. Go visit try.user.com/Pam to get your deal and start turning each visitor into a happy customer. Again, that is try.user.com/Pam. Hey there, Zoomers, and welcome to Social Zoom Factor. This is your host, Pam Moore. Today, we are talking about one of the key foundations to success in marketing, no matter what channels you're using, whether you're digital, social, online, offline, no matter what industry you're working in, no matter what audience you're serving, how big or small your company is, how big or small your team is, you need to understand what is audience marketing. We have a lot to cover today, so we are going to dig right in. Number one question I want to ask you. Do you know the top 3 reasons that businesses fail when it comes to digital and social marketing? Number 1, it's a lack of planning. Number 2, it's a lack of patience. And number 3, they are not aligned to audience needs. Now let's break this down a little bit, and then we're going to go straight into audience marketing. Lack of planning. This simply means that marketers are not setting clear goals, and they hear the phrase, social marketing is free. You can just hop on Facebook and Twitter and LinkedIn and start marketing your business. That could not be further from the truth. Okay, it takes your greatest asset, which is time, and you are making brand impressions with every post that you publish, every post that you engage with, every like, every comment, every share is all a representation of your brand. And you do not control your brand perceptions based upon what you post. Your brand is made up of perceptions of what people think about you, how you make them feel when they come in contact with not only your corporate brand postings, as well as the people who are working within your company and what they're posting online. And given the divisive and political climate that we are in today, how you are engaging online really matters. So you really need to take the time to slow down, to speed up, and plan your goals. What does success look like? If you were to look at your business 3 months, 6 months, 12 months, 18 months from now, what does success look like for you for marketing? What are your core objectives? Are you wanting to grow your business? Are you wanting to build community? Are you wanting to build brand awareness? Do you need to build authority? Do you need to earn trust? Do you need to establish relationships? Do you need to optimize your sales funnels so that you can close more deals more quickly? Do you need to support your sales team? Do you need to hire more people? Do you need to build out a content strategy that will bring you more leads and sales? sales? Do you need to build out the personal brands of your executives so that you can have more authority? And I mean, the list goes on and on. And if you don't know what your goals are, then you need to get somebody to help you instead of just continuing to throw content and digital spaghetti at the virtual walls and hoping that they stick. That's what our agency, Marketing Nuts, does. We are a training and consulting company. I spent 15 years in corporate America before I started my company. And then I've been running Marketing Nuts for 10 years now. And we help brands of all sizes, from tiny businesses, solo entrepreneurs, all the way up to corporate brands. So if you don't contact us, contact somebody that can help you set those goals and put a plan together. It really will be time well invested. So number 2 reason that people fail is lack of patience. And this simply means they quit. And most of the time, unfortunately, this is because they never took the time to plan for success. And they just started doing a bunch of random acts of marketing. And if you've listened to any of my other episodes, you know that I do not like random acts of marketing because they will eat your ROI for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. And the way that you know you have random acts of marketing is that they are not in your plan, they're not in your budget, they're not integrated with everything else you're doing, and they have no metrics for success. So if you are not planning and setting goals up front, what happens is you're running your digital and your social marketing programs, and then you'll get, weeks or months into it and you'll be like, oh my gosh, we're not achieving success. But the issue is that you've never taken time to plan those goals. You don't know what success looks like. So you may give up at week 3, you may give up at week 6, at 6 months. You give up too early. But it all stems back to the fact that you never had those right goals to begin with. Reason number 3 that marketers fail with digital and online marketing is they are not aligned to audience needs. All right, you need to absolutely know who your audience is. You need to know who are those dream customers that you want to attract. Who are the type of customer? You may hear it referred to as a buyer persona or a customer avatar, but who are those customers that you most enjoy working with? Who are those customers that you best serve and can provide them the best value consistently? That's your dream customer. And that's why today we are going to dig into audience marketing in a nutshell. And I am going to cover 5 foundational elements. What is audience marketing? Why every business needs audience marketing? What are the benefits of audience marketing and taking the time to actually create buyer personas? I'll give you an introduction to buyer personas, how to get started with them, and then understand the difference between buyer personas, customer profiles, and market segmentation. If you listen to this episode today, you will leave with a solid understanding of audience marketing. And if you are having a hard time inside of your organization selling to your peers, maybe your boss or one of your coworkers, on why it's so important that they take the time to slow down, to speed up and understand your customer, this podcast episode will definitely help you today. And not only helping yourself make sure you're doing the right things to know your customer and optimize all of your marketing, increase the ROI across everything you're doing, as well as get other people on board with your plan and how to do that. Now, I want to tell you, I also have some free resources you can check out. I'll put these in the show notes for this episode. Wherever you're listening to this podcast, just, scroll down and you'll be able to click right through. You can always find this also out on my blog at pam.online. But I want you to download my free buyer persona worksheet. Go to pam.online/mybuyer All right. And I also have a 5-day buyer persona bootcamp. In less than an hour a day, we go even deeper on audience marketing. And within 5 days, in less than an hour a day, you will have your buyer personas not only clearly defined, but also prioritized. So you can start leveraging those immediately. So go straight to pam.online/mybuyer and check that out if you want some more in-depth training. But let's go ahead and dig into what is audience marketing. Audience marketing, in a nutshell, is an intentional alignment of your marketing messages, content, and focus to the needs of your audience. It shifts the focus from you to your audience. This means that you are prioritizing your audience as your number one priority when you are developing your marketing strategies, your tactics, and your detailed plans for execution. So when you hear your peers or others in your industry talk about having an audience first marketing strategy, it really is not rocket science. It just means that you are putting your audience first in everything that you're doing. So before you are posting content or planning content that you're going to put on LinkedIn or Twitter or Facebook or Instagram or whatever social network you're focusing on, you are first thinking about your audience. You're not only thinking about what your own objectives are for your business, you're thinking about what can this content do for my audience? Why are they going to care that I'm even taking the time to develop this content? What's in it for them? So you always want to answer that question of why. Why will your audience care? And what is the intent that you have for that piece of content? And what is the intent? Is it to help them understand a certain topic? Is it to help them learn about you? Is it to help them solve a specific problem? What is the intent of that piece of content? So 3 steps for audience marketing success as you're getting started. Number 1, you need to do your research. So you need to understand your customer. So you need to take the time to define your target buyer. And that's why I'm saying clearly you need to create that buyer persona and understand who is your buyer. And we offer that 1-page buyer persona worksheet at pam.online/mybuyer. You need to take the time to define who that customer is. You also need to understand the ecosystem in which you're serving them. So if you're on LinkedIn, you need to understand how are people engaging on LinkedIn. If you're using Twitter and Instagram, people are engaging in different ways across all of the different social networks. So you need to know what is that broader ecosystem. How are people going to engage with your audio content versus your video content? YouTube versus Facebook are similar but very different when it comes to video content. So what is that ecosystem? Why is that target buyer on that platform at that time? You got to get in their head. And then you also need to do your research on the technology, but the technology really comes last, right? So we leverage the Forrester research methodology, the POST methodology, and it's POST. People, objectives. What are the objectives that your target buyer has? And then S is strategy. That's based on relationship. Okay, so people, objectives, strategy. Then based on who you want to target, what their objectives are, what your objectives are, what your relationship currently is with those target buyers or not, if you need more brand awareness, those things are all going to then define what technology you use. And it's so easy for marketers, particularly if you have a little bit of a geeky brain, that you want to just dive straight into technology. You're like, I'm going to go do video, or I'm going to go do a podcast, or I'm going to go, hop on Instagram Reels or TikTok, whatever it may be. But you really have no plan for why you're there. Is your audience there? What are they doing there? And then you wonder why, you're your efforts fail because you never defined why you were doing it. You never defined what success looks like, and you don't know your audience. So those are those top 3 things we talked about at the start of this episode of why people fail with digital marketing. And that's why you have to do your research. Number 2 step for audience marketing success, you need to know your unique value. So once you've done the research, then you'll start to define the strategy for how you're going to fit in. And then you start to define, okay, how can I provide some unique value? What are maybe content topics that people are not talking about that I am an expert in and I can offer advice, right? That's one reason I talk a lot about strategy. I talk a lot about audience marketing. I talk a lot about, connecting the dots between goals, objectives, our audience, and content, because there's a lack of that type of content in our industry. Everybody likes to talk just about the tools and the technology, but nobody knows how to put the dots, connect all the dots to put those pieces together. So there's a rhyme and a reason for why I have the specific content topics across the different platforms that I use, because I'm able to provide unique value that keeps traffic coming to my sites, that keeps leads flowing in, that keeps new customers coming. So what is your unique value? How are you going to stand out in a very crowded digital world today? Step number 3 is you need to align everything you do to the needs of your audience. And I mean everything. And let's go ahead and dig into how we're going to do that. So when we talk about our audience, what we mean by this, these are people or market segments at whom an advertising or marketing campaign is aimed. It could be total number of listeners, viewers, readers, people that we're reaching by a particular communications medium, or it could be paid ads. So it could be, resources we're using that could be organic. So we're posting content on social networks such as LinkedIn, Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, hoping that people are going to see that without us having to pay. Or it could be that it is a paid media, right? That we're maybe advertising on radio or a TV or paid media on one of the social networks. So what is audience targeting? Don't overcomplicate this. Target audience is basically the people that you want to view, read, listen, engage with your content. Who do you envision engaging, watching, listening, loving your content? Okay. It could be a specific group of people within your target market, which a product, a service, or the marketing message is aimed at. So you may have broader segments that you want to reach, but who do you really want to engage, to want to do business with you? And you can't say everybody. So you can't say anybody between the ages of 22 and 75 would love my ice cream cones. Of course, we all love ice cream. But when we want to leverage marketing, digital marketing, social media, we need to know who are those people, who are the humans that we want to engage with our content and eventually, hopefully, buy from us and tell all their friends about us. Now, when we are developing our audience first marketing strategy, there are 3 things that we need. Number 1, we need to know who our audience is. We need to, number 2, know what our audience needs from us. And number 3, we need to provide it to them. So don't overcomplicate it. Who are we targeting? What do they need from us? And then provide it to them. You do this before you do anything else, and I promise your marketing results are going to exponentially start to increase. So what are the benefits of audience marketing? Before we go there, we need to hear a quick word from our sponsor. Please give them a listen, and I'll be right back. Trying to integrate different tools into a business can make us go crazy. And the worst part is that all this granularity also means you lose data. Our new partner, Usercom, is a full stack marketing machine that helps businesses integrate under one umbrella all those vital marketing and customer support activities. Email marketing, SMS campaigns, web and mobile push notifications, call center activities, chatbot and live chat, visitor tracking, visual sales pipeline, customer relationship management, and obviously automation automation. Think about an automated sequence that engages and converts your leads via email, drives upsells with SMS campaigns, and answers customer questions via chat. Study after study is showing that opening a conversation with the visitor will drastically increase your conversion. User.com makes it super easy to interact with your customers even when you sleep. It also integrates with all the tools you and your team love to use, like Slack, Zoom, Google Analytics, and WordPress, to name a few. Visit them at try.user.com/Pam. They're offering a special for our listeners of 50% off for 6 months for any plan. Plus, the first 10 to register get a free consultation with a User.com marketing automation expert. Go visit try.user.com/Pam to get your deal. Again, that is try.user.com/Pam. I'm back. Okay, 3 key benefits of audience marketing. Number 1, it humanizes our brand. It makes our brand feel more relevant, more human, not like just a corporate entity. Because when we understand our audience and we are able to connect with them in human ways, people are able to connect with our brand more emotionally. And when people connect with a brand based on an emotional foundation, they are more likely to tell their friends and colleagues about that experience. And social currency on the web today equals action plus attention. And when we have action plus attention, then we can drive that emotional connection that's based on a human connection. And that is where the ROI comes in. Number 2 benefit is that it's going to connect you with your audience in a unique way. Because when you understand your audience and you are then finding the unique value that you can offer to that human, to those humans, it connects you in a personal way with your target customer in a way that your competition is not doing, because they're likely still just throwing digital social spaghetti out on those virtual walls and hoping that it's sticking. Number 3 is that it's going to increase the ROI across all of your marketing. All right. So those are some key benefits that are going to help you in your marketing overall, no matter what platforms you're using, no matter, what your budget is, how big your team is, you can immediately start benefiting from audience marketing. Now, the next big question that comes up with audience marketing is segmentation. Don't overcomplicate this either. So market segmentation is basically a marketing strategy where you're dividing a broader target market into subsets. Okay. It could be of consumers, of businesses, or, geographically based, who have or are perceived to have common needs, interests, and priorities. So you're segmenting them into groups where they are common. Okay, they have common traits about them, common behaviors. And then what you do is you are designing and implementing, executing strategies that target each of those segments. And what that does, it helps you focus, right? It helps improve results. It helps you be more relevant with those target segments and people. It helps your content have more context and meaning with your desired customer. And it helps you drive that desired action that you want that person on the other end of that video or the end of the podcast or the blog post, the email that you're sending them, to open it and read it and listen and watch and engage, and the end result is going to be an increased return on investment, more leads, more sales, more happy, satisfied customers. That's where success comes in. So when you're looking at your customer profiles, you'll hear that term, and sometimes people confuse a customer profile with a market segment, with a buyer persona. Customer profiles are most often used in B2B scenarios, and it's really your ideal customer organization. So this includes data that helps you describe the customers that you're you can best serve, the customers that bring you joy, the customers who see the most value in your offerings, customers, maybe based on industry or niche or size of company, annual revenue, growth, stage of business. So it's important to know what is that customer profile if you're in a B2B industry of who is that customer profile that you can best serve. Examples of some of this information, like I said, will be industry, niche, location, revenue, growth of company, number of employees, stage of business. Those are the types of data elements you're going to want to look at. So when it comes to a buyer persona, what is a buyer persona? A buyer persona is a semi-fictional, generalized representation of your ideal customer. And it's based on market research and real data. Helps you understand the customer that you want to attract and relate to as humans. The reason we use buyer personas, it helps us align to business goals, helps us align the sales process to the buyer's journey. It helps us, really facilitate those discussions with our internal team and stakeholders. So if you need to have a more engaged conversation with your sales team, for example, and get them engaged in making sure they understand who your target customers are and where you can come together. A lot of times sales and marketing will kind of butt heads. It's like, well, it was marketing's fault we didn't get enough leads, and it's sales' fault that they didn't close those leads. So when you get focused on the needs of your buyer, and you are really looking at that buyer's journey, that will align and bring people together, where then everybody can be focused on the needs of that audience. And then you can talk about, okay, here's where we're leveraging automated marketing. Here's where we're leveraging email marketing. Here's where business development comes in and sales closers come in, throughout that buyer's journey. So it's key input that will facilitate those discussions that you need with different internal stakeholders and leaders within your organization with whom you really need to be focused on your audience. Because remember, that's what an audience first marketing strategy is. It's really being focused on your customer as a foundation. So buyer personas are going to help everybody get on the same page and really internalize and understand who that target customer is. And from a marketing perspective, it helps us ensure all of our marketing and messages are aligned to the needs of our audience. Awesome stuff. And it will also help you drive your content strategy, which will streamline everything you do with content creation, help you prioritize what content channels you're using. You'll know whether you should be focusing on LinkedIn or Facebook or Twitter or Instagram or whatever it may be. You're not guessing. You're not throwing that social spaghetti up at the wall every day hoping it sticks. And it'll provide that foundation that you need to scale and to really have a scalable and efficient content production and distribution strategy that will bring you, high ROI consistently for years to come, honestly. And so when you're looking at your buyer personas, you need to really understand more than just demographics. The more detail that you can have, the better. So we're looking at things like demographic data. Of course, those are the facts. Those are the who. Those are the how old are they? How much money do they make? That type of thing. How many kids do they have? Geographic, simple. That's where they located. And then psychographic, those are more looking at what are the personality? What are the behaviors? What are the attitudes of your target buyer? As you start to define those things and then you marry those up with the buyer's journey, you have a recipe for success, because your buyer's journey combined with who that buyer is as they are experiencing and growing in that relationship with your brand, as they move from discovery, consideration, purchase, and then loyalty, that is really going to help you move those customers more quickly through your sales and conversion funnel so that you can have more leads, sales, and success with your marketing. Now, as I said, make sure you go download that buyer persona worksheet, pam.online/mybuyer. Check out my 5-day buyer persona bootcamp that goes into all of this in more detail at pam.online/bootcamp. And if you want even more help with strategy and setting goals on everything digital, go check out our social Profit Factor Training Academy, and it will get you and your team started on the right foot and make sure you build out that solid foundation. So there you have it, audience marketing in a nutshell. I know this episode is going to help you dig into the resources that I have available, and look for future episodes coming up. I am going to be digging into how to research your audience and different tools and technology to use. Make sure you check out some of the most recent episodes I just did one also on conversion funnels, where I talk through it's the ultimate guide to sales and marketing conversion funnels, splitting it out by top, middle, and bottom of funnel. Super simple, perfect for newbies to advanced digital marketers. And I wish you the greatest of success. That's a wrap.
If you're ready to zoom your business and zoom your life, then don't let the end of this episode be the end of your journey. Visit socialzoomfactor.com/zoom for incredible free resources and guides. And be sure to join the Social Zoom Factor mailing list so you never miss an episode. We'll see you next time on Social Zoom Factor.